Hello everyone, it is Joe here from OmniPoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon, and today we are looking at Buzzwole Garbodor. It's an archetype that I've been testing a bunch on the streams recently, and I'm a big fan of the deck. I think it could well be a contender in the London International Championships, depending on whether or not people respect this deck or not. What I mean by that is, it can be teched against with lots of heal cards and Mr. Mime, and if people actually choose to insert these cards into their lists, it may be a little bit more tricky for Buzzwole, but on the surface of things, this is a powerful archetype, and I've been doing fairly well in my recent results with the deck, so I think a lot of people look at Buzzwole and say it has psychic weakness, so it's instantly bad. That's not always the case, and hopefully today we can see that in action. So this is the list I've been testing the most, and I think it is definitely solid. I'm also testing out a list that has a much thicker Garbodor line, plays Rainbow Energies and Trash-a-Launch Garbodor. I think that may well be the safer deck, but this is the one that I put the most testing in, so I thought this is probably the best one to profile, and maybe post-London we can see some of the other Buzzwole lists as well. So let's jump into the deck. This is really cool, actually. I think this is... The way I like to think about this deck is like Golisopod Garbodor, but just way more consistent. And that's pretty much how you try and play it. You try and use Acerola to bounce big old Buzzwole with Fury Belt. He is annoying to take out. It also baits the field blowers from people so that you can establish Garbotoxin or keep it in play as well. So doing this sort of loop and getting early pressure with Buzzwole is what the deck's all about. Obviously, if it's an evolution deck, you're going to be doing this spread damage and then go for a devolve play. If it's not an evolution deck, you can still try and bounce and remain out of range from all these basic attackers, and yeah, I think it's just a very simple deck and it gets the job done for me quite often. So let's see it. First of all, let's go with Buzzwole-GX, the big Ultra Beast himself. The tag means nothing right now, but maybe in the future that will mean something. It's a 190 HP Pokemon, which is really awesome. That extra 10 is so useful in so many situations. Think about things like Drampa GX, to name one Pokemon, and things like Tapu Bulu as well. It's 180, so it has to start accessing more cards if it wants to reach a high number. So that 190 oftentimes does put you just that little bit safer against a bunch of different things. And its first attack, Jet Punch, is really nice, good for early pressure. It does 30 and 30 to one of your opponent's bench. Now, this isn't the full story because we have Strong Energy as well as Fighting Fury Belt as the choice in here. As I said, trying to combine it with Acerola. You can go for a choice band route. I'm not opposed to that, especially if you are playing the Rainbow Garb build. You will play choice band in that because Trash-a-Launch just becomes so powerful. But for now, I'm loving the fact that you can just cycle Acerola and bounce. And additionally, it means that you hit 60 on the early turns, which is enough to KO the little 60 HP Pokemon that run around that try and evolve. So not only are you having the devolve approach, but you could also be taking single prizes here and there if you're able to run into your special energy and your tool, which is excellent. Then it has two more expensive attacks that are also very powerful. First of all, I'll jump to Absorption GX. For 3 fighting, it does 40 for each of your remaining prize cards. Now, this is an attack you will go for. It's the only GX attack we have available in the game. And oftentimes, if you do stack through energy onto your Buzzwole, you'll start off with an Absorption, and then it allows you to use Knuckle Impact the following turn, as long as he can tank, which, let's be fair, oftentimes he will. So, this GX attack is definitely a good option, because there is an adverse effect for Knuckle Impact, so simply getting around that for a turn is good enough to flip the GX marker for, to be honest, because there's no reason to not in the deck. So the other attack for the 3 fighting cost is 160 damage with the Knuckle Impact. This Pokemon can't attack during your next turn. So that's why, as long as you still get a knockout with Absorption, you'll go for that option first. Hope that you can tank a hit with the Buzzwole and then move into Knuckle Impact. It just makes the most sense to do it this way. But as we've seen with the likes of Volcanion, which also has a similar effective attack, because we're playing for Acerola and for Guzma, we get around this very simply. So it's not a huge issue for us. Normally this is getting big one-hit KOs again. The Fury Belt pushes us to 170, which is like the realms of Tapu Lele, and when you start putting strong energies into the equation, we're going to be getting knockouts, especially when you bear in mind that Jet Punch will be peppering things up throughout the game. So Buzzwole has some great late game options as well. We don't have any energy acceleration in here, which is the big concern for the deck, I guess, or the big reason why this won't be very often used. In some matchups, you literally never use Knuckle Impact. Things like Gardevoir, you don't want to stack energy to yourself because it's damage for them, and you want to stay out of range. You're much better off just Jet Punching and attaching energy all around your board. You're much more safer in this regard. So Knuckle Impact only really used against the big basic stuff if you're not going for a Devolve approach, but it's still obviously a very, very powerful attack and can close out games. Then we're going to play 2 Zygarde-EX. This also has the 190 HP, which again is so good for so many reasons. And the main reason we're playing Zygarde-EX is because it has Grass Weakness. And Grass Weakness is not Psychic Weakness, which is the big downside of Buzzwole-GX. Of course, you're very concerned about Trash Launch Garb, as well as Espeon-GX in the very early turns. So we all know that Garbodor is a very popular archetype, and they will be playing a 1-1 or thicker line of the Evolution, the Espeon, so that's a big issue for you. So we need to play Zygarde in order to have an attacker in the matchup, quite simply. Lance Pulse does 20, and if there's a Stadium card in play, 20 more damage. We are maxing out our Stadium, so we actually, with the Strong Energy, can deal 60. And again, this is a very good number when we're trying to set up Devolve plays. It's actually underrated how good Lance Pulse is for also setting things in range for an Espeon later down the line, and for our Espeon-EX, I should say. But also, it means that we can put 60 damage on an Espeon-GX, which can also help us out for getting knockouts on them. And we can also just go for Cell Storms against them as well. When you can Acerola bounce Zygarde, it has the 190, so it's much harder for them to deal with. You can just bounce Zygardes for a little while, and that can slowly deal with an Espeon, which is pretty cool for you. So yeah, this is our main out to Espeon. This is the main reason why we're playing it. It does have like decent attacks in general, like Cell Storm's good for 2 hitting stuff. When you're this tanky and you can heal off yourself, it can deny 2 hit KOs as well, which is really good. So it just fits the bill of being good early pressure, and its energy, or its attacks scale much better than Buzzwole, because you can have the middle stage of the Cell Storm when you attach a second energy, so it can be good. Lanzaraf doesn't really ever reach 1 hit KOs. You can add Strong Energies and Strong Energy and Fury Belt. Typically you'll require some Buzzwole setup for that one, but you can go for the 3 energy attachments on Zygarde if you want to as well. From there, we are going to play 3 Tapu Lele for the Wonder tag, as we all know. Energy Drive, it's a much weaker option in the deck, but it's actually something I'll use quite a bit just because it's 2 energy and it's hard to actually set up the things like the Knuckle Impacts and the Lanzarafs. And once again, when you're setting up damage all over the board, Energy Drive is good at mopping things up, so this is actually a very viable attacker, even though we don't play DCE. And what I like to do against Gardevoir players is you're leading with Buzzwole, of course, but you can also just start manually attaching to each of your Leles on your bench, just 1 attachment on each, so they're threatening Energy Drives to respond on a Guardy if they're able to hit like Field Blower and start going crazy with DCE, Spring, etc. So Lele can really help out in that matchup as well, and it's a low-key, very impressive card. It also really helps out against Volcanion, actually, when you're going to go for loads of Jet Punches again all over the board, hoping that Acerola bouncing when you have your Garbotoxin online is going to do the work, and then the Lele can polish off things that you've put early pressure on. So yeah, really good attacker actually, even though we don't play DCE. 1 Espeon-EX, hugely important of course when we're going for this Devolve approach. We are pretty much maxing out on the Potowns, and Buzzwole is incredible at spreading damage, so it only makes sense. And we're going to play the 2-2 line of Garbotoxin Garbodor. This is the main way that we can deny 1-hit KO decks. Getting 1-hit KOs, we stop Steam Up and we stop Secret Spring, so that means that we're able to do this whole Potown shenanigans. Sorry, not Potown, the Acerola shenanigans, and tank with our big basics. That's pretty much the whole concept. At the same time, we're denying draw from decks in general, so everything's going to be a bit more difficult to set up when we have our own Garbodor in play. There's no reason for us to not play it because there's no abilities that we require in the deck. So yeah, very nice supporting cast to keep everything else in check so we can keep spamming Jet Punch, because the whole deck is based around it, to be honest. From there, our items are very simple. 1 Rescue Stretcher, recovering whatever Pokemon we require. 2 copies of Enhanced Hammer. It's very nice against the other Garbodor variants, both Gliscopod and Drampa Garbodor. This can be a really nice swing card, preventing them from setting up a secondary attacker once we can target things down. Drampa's already a liability in the matchup, so they're pretty much reliant on just Espeon, as well as Trash Launch Garb, so being able to get rid of things like Rainbows, DC on their Lele's and stuff like that, this can be very nice tempo swings in your favour, so that's very good. And again, against Gardevoir, you're going to keep them out of range whenever you can. I've really enjoyed this tech. It's helped out in so many different situations. There's even things like Decidueye, Zoroark, and other Zoroark variants. You shouldn't have a rough time against those, but E-Hammer's just insane against all of those DC decks. So I think it's just so good in the format that I've made a statement by playing 2, and I've never once seen a reason to cut them from the deck because they're just so good right now. And ironically, this is actually taking this, well, not ironically, but surprisingly, I guess you could say, this is taking the spot of Field Blower. As you can see, I'm not playing Blower in the deck at all, and that's just a statement of how much I think E-Hammer is important in the deck. I think it's just really, really good. For Ultra Ball, it's going to get you Lele for the early turns, and just your other dudes throughout the game. For Potown, going to help us set things into range, damage-wise. So many evolutions in the format. Potown really does challenge them effectively, and again, it can be a bait for Field Blowers, so that you can establish Garbotoxin more often and run them out of Field Blowers before you run out of tools, essentially. That's the main idea. Then, for supporters, we're going to play 1 copy of Pokemon Fan Club. I've had a few questions about this, why I'm playing this over the typical Bridget, and it's quite simply because Zygarde is something you can grab with the Fan Club. Obviously, you could do it with the Bridget, but that would be the only copy that you would take. So we're going to play the Fan Club so we can go ahead and grab double Zygarde if we want to, or we can go something like Zygarde Trubbish or Zygarde Lele, something like that, against exactly Drampa Garbodor, which is important. And against everything else, really, you only need to grab yourself like Buzzwole Trubbish. That's all you need. So the Bridget would be nice, but it would sort of at the same time be not really overkill. You would enjoy having a third target quite often, just getting like a second Buzzwole, but it does feel a little bit extra. It feels like something that you don't absolutely need. It's not core to the strategy of the deck, so we can get away with playing just this Fan Club instead, because Drampa Garbodor is one of the most popular archetypes. We have to keep an eye on that and not just outright lose, which a lot of people think this deck would do. But having the Fan Club, giving ourselves a chance with double Zygarde is very reasonable. We're also going to play 1 copy of Lillie. When we're going second, we can be as aggressive as possible to start setting up Jet Punch, and Lillie helps us do that, especially if we've started with either of these 5 good leads for the deck. We can start hitting Choice Bands, and I keep saying Choice Bands, Fury Belts and Strong Energies to make our maths even better, and that is oftentimes excellent for you. So yeah, Lillie is also a good turn 1 supporter if you don't need the Fan Club, and I prefer this just to playing a physical 4th copy of N, because we can be quite aggressive more often than not. Even if we are only taking like early prizes on single prize Pokemon, the N just starts depleting for us eventually, so there you go. I prefer this to a 4th copy of N, quite simple. That's why we're only playing the 3N. I still think it's good. We can still be the role of a control deck in a lot of matchups, so still having a high count is important, so I wouldn't trim it down from 3, but I prefer a Lillie in here just to a 4th copy, quite simply. 4 copies of Acerola. That is, again, a huge aspect of this deck, trying to hit and heal. Seeing as though we're not playing Choice Band, the Jet Punch is doing like 3 hit KOs on a bunch of non-EXs. It's way more effective against the evolution decks, of course, so Acerola is going to be required against the stuff that we can't simply one-bang, so that we can wipe off some of their damage and simply re-promote a Buzzwole using our Float Stones or something like that, or just have another one on the board, reattach tool, and just carry on spamming. 4 copies of Guzma. It's really good for trying to stall stuff because you can do your bench sniping. Really good for setting up multiple targets for your devolve plays as well, especially if you can do the Magic 60 with the Strong and the Fury Belt. So it's just really excellent for making sure we're getting damage exactly where we want it to be, and in general getting ourselves out of trouble. And simply 4 copies of Sycamore, because it's the best supporter we have. So one of the big decisions is why fighting Fury Belt. Well, I've already mentioned that it's great for doing the Magic 60, which is very true against things in the early game, but also I just think the tankability of Buzzwole is ridiculous. 230 is just very difficult to get around, and many decks are playing only something like 2 Field Blower, so oftentimes by having the full 4 count, you will just be out of range of too many things quite often. And when Buzzwole's able to eventually get into a Knuckle Impact, he can sometimes ride you to the last 4 prizes of the game, if you've been doing early jet punches for sure. So Fury Belt, very nice for the tankability. I don't think Choice Band is necessary in this build. It would be way better in the Rainbow Energy Focus build, just FYI. You probably make the swap in that case. But for this sort of focus, when we are big basics, we want to be as big as possible. 4 Floatstone for the Garbodor, of course, and just free retreating in general. We have the chunky Zygarde, which has a free retreat cost, and the Buzzwole, which has a 2. And finally, just 11 energy, 4 of them being strongs. It's damage increasing, and it's really good. And complementing that, 7 fighting. I've said it can be really important for Lele to attack, can be important, of course, for Espeon, and it's just supplementing the other fighting dudes throughout the deck. So that is going to be it for the list. I think if I were to make changes, it would only really be to add Field Blower. That would be the one card that I'm trying to look to work in. I mean, potentially you can cut one of these supporter cards, maybe go down to 3 Potown, but I'm just loving the simplicity of this deck. And there really aren't that many Fighting Fury Belted lists that you have to worry about, and those are really the only tools I am concerned with. So it's not a big issue. Field Blower is not mandatory in this deck because we don't really need to activate abilities at any point, so we don't need to Field Blow our own Garbodors off, for example, or opponents' Garbodors. So I feel like it's just sort of excess, and when it's an item card as well, you have to be really careful because you need to play as few as possible whenever you have a Buzzwole around. So yeah, I don't think Field Blow is mandatory, but it could be a nice one-off to have in the deck. You just feel, sort of feels weird to not play one in general, you know what I mean? But yeah, if you're going to make changes, I think the deck itself changes drastically. If you start trying to put in your Drampers, you end up putting in DCs and Rainbows and stuff. If you just want to thicken the Garbodor line, it again changes into a different deck where you just go with a 4-2-2 split, and then you go to Choice Bands, 4 Rainbows, 4 Strong, 4 Basic Energy. But yeah, this will be it for my build, or one of my builds I should say, the Buzzgarb list. You can see I've got a fairly decent win rate with it, and I've got decent win rates with the other ones as well. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Buzz, and I hope people are brave for London. The people who have tested it, it could do very well for everyone. So bit of a gamble, but what's the fun in going to a tournament without gambling, huh? That's what I say. Hopefully we can get some good games in, and we can show off this good deck. And yeah, should be fun. We are up against Gonzu. Looks like he's playing Volk. Volk isn't the easiest matchup for us. They can Field Blower on turns and just explode. And if they play Ho-Oh, it is especially difficult because they have an annoying resistance. Our hand isn't excellent here. We have 2 supporters, but none of them are draw cards. And for some reason, we don't have a energy in our hand. So this may be a slow turn 1 for us. It is indeed Volk. We have an energy attachment. It's actually really annoying that he has a baby Volk active. I may Guzma it away. Yeah. Get out of here, baby Volk. Don't want to give him the luxury. Yeah. We can thin Potown. We really don't need it. Get out of the hand. Maybe the Guzma forces an N from the opponent to maybe find a Floatstone. That would be ideal. They're going to Lele, so I imagine they're just going to Sycamore. Okay, they're going to Guzma us back. That also is not bad. They have Rangaroo. And they're going to hit us for 50. Okay, another energy. Not too shabby. We'll just Acerola. Do I want to start stacking the bench? rather than the active. Yeah. We're going to target down the threat on the board, of course. Let's see how far their hand carries them. We've had a pretty grim opening. Have a Fury Belt. Looks like that was the top deck, otherwise they would have played it last turn. And a Lillie. Let's see the first Max Elixir. That fails. Somehow. Oh, they have a second copy. That one is on the money. And again, it's a power heat of 50. Another dud from us. All we can do is Jet Punch. You know when I said this was the more consistent list? Yeah, fun times. Opponent's going to go ahead, grab themselves a Tapu Lele, then they're going to instruct for 2 cards. And then we're going to see the Wonder Tag. For the Sycamore. No surprise there, really. See a Steam Up, so that'll get the knockout. Oh, they already had knockout, of course. They're going to bench a Volk-EX. They can get an attachment in as well, which they do. And Volcanic Heats. Right then, let's start drawing cards. Here we go. Let's get into this game, shall we? Apparently not. Wow, that's disgusting. Seeing as though he has to Guzma if he wants to attack with the Volk-EX, we should start stacking Buzzwole on our end. I'm going to go to the Baby Volk because it is still a massive pain to get around, and we currently don't have any Guzma or anything. Enhanced Hammer's a problem. We should expect it from a Volk player, in fairness. See a Steam Up, so they're at 160. Oh wow, it's a knockout. Insane. Did they have a switch, or did they have to pay retreat here? Paying retreat. Makes it a little better, but still hideous. Okay. Well, you know when something feels bad. Never too late to set up a Trubbish. We'll get a cheeky 40 in. Oh man, this doesn't feel great. He'll probably power heater though, I would imagine. Maybe he stays active and just simply passes. Passing is also like really reasonable, to be fair. Yeah. We'll still N. So 6, 7. Yeah, I guess so. Let's see what we can pull out of the hat here. Another Max Elixir comes down, fails. They have an attachment. Oh boy. So we lose to an energy drop from them. They have got 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. Probably 2 left? No, maybe 3 left. Wait. We can get out of range with the heal. Yeah, okay. We should thin some cards from our deck, seeing as though we don't want to Guzma. And we'll just sell Storm. Don't call it a comeback. All the energy in the early hands and then just none now. Okay, Turtonator. That's a big deal. So, if we go for a Guzma, we could maybe stall the Volk and 2-hit it and heal ourselves a lot. Deny him a Nitro Tank. I think that's what we go for. Deny him Power Heaters and deny Nitro Tank sounds pretty important. Trying to heal ourselves out of range is quite fun as well. Hanging on by a thread. Garben is still pretty important. Oh boy. Again, Turtonator can win him game. I can't deny it in any way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12. It would have to be like his last energy, I think. Yeah, some play 15 to be fair. It's not his last energy, but I mean, we literally can't do anything else, right? I can't just pass. Pass and hope to... Like, what am I hoping? He's just as likely to top deck game as I am. We have 3, 4, 5 outs, and he has like 3, maybe more anyway. This is not great. Let's just bite the bullet. See if he can get into his last energy. Something like a Sycamore top deck would be devastating. He's only got rid of 1 so far though. If he wants to play safe, he should just promote this. Yep. Just a power heater. Okay. So now Turtle is ready to go. Ah, Sycamore. Potentially saved. Let's scout this deck real quick. We just want to get rid of this, right? So we have to pay retreat here. And it has to be to the Lele, right? Seeing as though we didn't draw into an Acerola somehow. If we drew into an Acerola, it would have been fine. So now we have to dodge a Fury Belt. He's got rid of 3. And a Guzma. Somehow no Acerola or Guzma in our own hand is pretty gross. Let's see. Potentially just another power heater here. He's having a good old think though. Gets a Volk-EX. That is potentially game losing by putting it into play. Paratreat Nitro Tank. Wow. Very interesting. Guzma. Okay then. Let's see how longer we can dodge bullets, huh? Okay, that's one dodge. Just one more bullet to dodge, huh? We'll just get rid of these and play Lillie. One more turn. Don't call it a comeback. Can't even look. Well, let's see. 3 ultra. And an N. Can they move the Lele? Yes. Gonna be a volcanic heat. Oh boy. More bullet dodge. Oh, okay. Not more bullet dodging. We got there. Insane. Well, I think that was a good rub of the green there, not gonna lie. But Garb and being difficult to knock out is the entire focus of the deck. I will admit that Volk is definitely like a really hard matchup for us. Fun fact, I have just won 4 in a row though against all Volks. Before I was recording, I faced 3 Volks and I beat all of them. It's a really hard matchup. And each time, oh, it's probably another Volk. What's going on? Is there a challenge on the ladder or something? My goodness. All the Volks are out to play today. Let's see if we can do better. Maybe not do better. We just got really lucky in that last game. Dodged lots of supporters, basically. Yep, it's Volk again. We need to remember to play around their E-Hammer better this time. Us not playing around E-Hammer that game actually wasn't bad because they blew up our guy anyway, but it's something that could have been game losing. So let's not try and do game losing things. This is another pretty good turn 1 from Mr. Volkman. Yeah, that's intimidating. They did retreat though for some reason. They must have their own Guzma in hand, right? This is not helpful to us. We could play other ones out of our hand later. Okay. Let's pass. I'm assuming there's a Guzma here. Okay. Very good. Four. Wow. 4 items played, 4 elixirs, 4 hits. No fire energy though, at least. Guzma probably not the play on our end because we have to be careful with our last 2. We can't do it just being hopeful to stall, especially when we haven't got Garbodor set up yet. Oh, no Floatstone is painful. Ultra Balling to establish a Garbotoxin is reasonable. Oh man, this is gross. Really gross. Okay. I don't want to play nothing. We're drawing some interesting hands. Okay, here's Guzma. Does he have the steam ups to boot? Looks like it. He needs 2 energy in the hand, which is pretty likely. It's Volcar. Oh, never mind. There's me saying it's Volk after all. So, Shell Trap is actually pretty annoying for this deck when it tries to heal. So the opponent spotted that quite well. Acerola-ing back into Espeon, is that ever right? Can't be right, ever, right? Dumping 3 Acerola sounds so hideous as well. We really need them. We're put in such weird spots already. I don't know what to believe. Draw 4. Oh, I can't get rid of more ends though. I'm doing this just because I want to get more attachments on board. Because our board is pretty pathetic right now. And because of Shell Trap, we just pass probably. He can... I mean, he needs like stuff. It's quite easy for him to just steam up a bunch. Field Blower could be good for him. All sorts. But if we just hit him for 60, we just feed him like so easily. I mean, we do eventually need to take him out, and I imagine we get KO'd regardless next turn. I don't know, this doesn't feel great, but we'll see. See an N from the opponent. Getting rid of a bunch of Ultra Balls for nothing. Then just a Lele. Preempting the Garbotoxin coming in, which is pretty smart. Grabbing themselves an N. Just going for another Shell Trap. Interesting. Really interesting. Heartbroken, huh? Well, N isn't Guzma, so we'll try and slow them down. Keep pressuring this guy. Worked for us last time, stalling chunky stuff. And if we get a hand refresh, I'm not going to complain. This has been a pretty weird game. Volk normally plays quite differently. They're being quite passive. Shell Trap's already annoying for our deck. Oh, they do have Guzma. Okay. Seems good. Seems good. In theory, we can Absorption GX though. But I guess he's hoping for fireworks that he can just sort of respond on instantly. I really don't want to attach a Floatstone here, so we'll promote Zygarde, because I don't mind Floatstoning that. Do I mind Floatstoning that? We never mind Floatstoning Espeon, right? Now we have to establish if retreating is worth just for damage. Now that we have Ultra Ball, we could use it next turn for a Lele. 7 seconds to decide. I think it's not worth. We have a Lillie for 2. Field Blower. So he can retreat his own Volk. That seems pretty good. Go for a knockout with the old Bright Flame. Going down to 3 prizes. The only good news is that he put himself to a 7 prize game. It's the only good news here. Ooh, Acerola's actually insane here. Guarantees it for us. Yeah. It's too good to not do, really. Seems like it also wipes a lot of damage off us. And we'll Absorption GX. Just 280 damage, no big deal. Let's see if they can get more steam ups to get a KO here. 3, 6, 7 energy played. They should still have a bunch. There's a Guzma. Okay. Oh boy. So now we can Guzma him back. KO this. But once we do that, we won't be able to take our last prize very easily because it's that. So we should actually play this card. We shouldn't Guzma this turn. We should take the single prize here. Maybe. I need to figure this out. He's lost 3 Guzmas. Clearly didn't have the fires in hand last turn to make the play. We don't have time to attach up to another Buzzwole, so we should commit to Lele at this point. Maybe just passing in the actives correct here. Yeah, I don't mind it. We have Guzma, so I'm not scared about him field blowing. He's only got 1 Guzma left. Yeah, it's going to end us. This is, again, a really weird back and forth. Just another power heater. Just the fact that we have only 1 Guzma left is what makes this difficult. Now it looks like we could have had time to attach to this Buzzwole. It makes me feel bad now. Is stalling his Volk again an option at this point? If we do that, his Baby Volks probably run riot on us, so I don't like it too much. How many tools do we have left? Still a bunch. I'm not going to Guzma this turn. His hand size is too low to do like the Guzma plays on us. Didn't draw into Garbatoxin, which is a bit annoying. If he takes the prize here next turn, we're down to 1, and then he could anytime get Guzma for game, so I guess we have to retreat this. This is a really weird game. Once again we get end. So that's all of his end's gone, I think. Yeah. Okay, there's a steam up. And just a power heater for 60. Is now the time to Guzma. I think this is a promising turn to Guzma. Now that all 4 ends are gone for him. He's going to make us go through baby Volks though, right? Just going to grab Sycamore. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Still a bunch of fires in the deck. Yes, that's his 10th energy. 11th attached here, maybe. Okay. All of our Acerola's gone. No, we have one. You know what? N isn't actually terrible. We do this. And then we just pass. It's really not that bad. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10, 11. It's always so hard to know what to do against Volk. They have still potential switching options. They still have one Guzma. Okay, here it is. $150. So a Guzma from him wins, but he's out. Okay, excellent. So we just Sycamore, right, every time. Try and develop Garbotoxin and get an attachment in on this Buzzwole. Well, there you go. No, we don't have to play around N either because that's gone. I think we got there. I think we somehow navigated another Volk. Playing weirdly, but getting there. Oh, wait. Maybe not. Double steam up for game. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, he could have it. Orangaroo with the one draw. Oh no. What a way to go. E-Hammer. Sycamore. He's got game, right? Hey, that's a really close game. That was well played. The field blow was the only thing I lost track of. Yeah. I mean, I think that ending ourselves to 2 was super, like, greedy. We wouldn't have been able to establish Garbodor, and we wouldn't have been able to get a third energy, most likely. So, yeah, I don't know what was right there. Let's get one last game in with Buzzgarb. Somehow, we're just having a Volk Fest, and it's a weird old time trying to figure that out. Because they just have so much raw power potential, you have to be prepared for them to just shenanigans you at any turn. Ah, shenanigans. They got us in the end. Dark Fighting Psychic. What is this going to be? Let's find out with Buzzwole. We've seen much more Knuckle Impacts and Absorption GXs than usual. If it's an evolution deck, you just spam Acerola. But, oh, hey, it's a mirror. E-Hammer probably going to be good. And if the dark part of their deck is Zoroark, we should be fine. We get the first attack in, which is pretty cool as well. They're going to bridge it. Be my guest. Unless you're getting a Mr. Mime out, in which case I'm going to be upset. Okay. Lycanroc. Zoroark. Basic energy attachment and a pass. Strong off the top is not bad. And I don't want to bench anything because it's just all sorts of bad for us. So let's just start targeting a Rockruff. Forcing him to play Lycanrocs before they can actually get use of their Gust is pretty good. And I don't care about Zoroarks really because we'll just deal with them very, very easily. Didn't want to go for any benching stuff because it just makes Jet Punch as good as it can get. So let's not give them that satisfaction. They're going to fill their bench up quite merrily. Rescue Stretcher. Put them back to deck. Do you really think you'll... I don't know. Feels like they just put 2 dead cards back into their deck just then. What do I know? Getting rid of a Guzma. They probably don't play that many Guzmas because of the Lycanrocs. Floatstone to Zoroark. Gonna see an Ultra Ball. Got rid of an energy, so they probably have another one to attach this turn. If it's a strong, I'll be pretty happy, so we can negate that for a turn. Okay, here comes Lycanroc, just to stop getting mugged off as a little Rockruff. Choice Band and Jet Punch. So he chose not to get an... Oh, he did get an attachment in. My bad, my bad. He did get an attachment in. One that we can deny, no less. So can we still be KO'd by anything? We don't get KO'd by anything, right? So we should probably... I mean... another 50... I mean, there's nothing wrong with us starting to get another Buzzwole out. The only thing is that he just gets so much more value. We could, instead of Fan Club, we could just Ultra Ball this shenanigans away and play Sycamore. Trying to hit things like Fury Belt. I don't hate it. We'll probably be the aggressor, so N isn't great on our side. And drawing into Acerola next turn sounds good. Getting into Potown is also good for these things. So I'll set up the other Rockruff now for the same reasons as last time. Make him waste his bloodthirsty eyes. I imagine he's not playing many Acerola. Oh, just an N. Not bad, not bad. Maybe we can pick up Acerola now. Apparently not. We have Lele in fairness. Have many ways to get Lele. Half our deck is half our hand is Lele activation. Yeah, so he's gonna do the Gust. It's gonna stand in. Wants to attack with something other than Buzzwole, it looks like. Why would you attack with Lele there? I'm puzzled. That's really puzzling, just because this is the same, but more. Same, but more. Okay. Well, we have a lot of attachments. And again, I'm still not under any threat of anything, so 2, 4, 6, 8. The difference between 40 and 30, it's not huge at all. I'm just thinking about field blowers. It's a Zoroark build, so they probably play a few. Let's keep targeting the Buzz. If at some point I put 30 here, it means we can devolve for 2 prizes on each of these. We'll take 2 here, and then hopefully 2 here. Should be fairly routine. Depending on how many Acerola they play, and if they play Acerola. They're going to DC Lycanroc. Once again, Energy Drive coming in. 50 damage. Okay. So we can Guzma KO, and he can deal back 110, 130, which is enough with a field blower. But then we can just go for different plays. I'm really overthinking a lot of these things, but it's such a difficult deck to get right every single turn. Please tell me I got it in time. Okay. Whew. Making myself panic. We're just going to undo this damage. Keep jet punching the Buzzwole. I'd be sad if there's an Acerola to come now. Five, 10, 15. Second Guzma. Wow, they play a lot of Gust. I guess 2 is... I'm assuming that's their last Guzma. Oh wow, he's not even... Well, the Acerola is absolutely just troll central. So... just ridiculous, really. We set this up for a devolve, and we KO a Buzzwole at the same time. Pretty nuts. We should start playing around N at this point. Another Acerola. Gonna get end. Gonna see a stand-in from the opponent. And back into the Lele. For an energy drive. E-Hammer's so good against a deck like this. We may not even need the devolve approach. This is 50 away and this is 80 away. And our Buzzwoles are tanking. See a field blower. Maybe just both tools at this point. Poton's already done its work. Yep. They get a strong energy, they can claw slash, but it's still pretty awkward for them. They're going to start Buzzwolling back. Let's see. Oh look, it's those two cards that they stretch it back. Sycamore the second time. Oh dear. It's the little things in life, you know? I know I've been going down to the clock a lot this game, or all three series to be honest, but thinking stuff through is important. And I feel I owe Buzzwole my full attention because I've been playing so well with it and I want to do it justice on camera. 4, 8, 12, 16, 17, 18. So the GX attack isn't perfect. So do we just Guzma? Guzma hit for 50. Wait, Guzma's not right. This may have been our first error. This is really weird, but I think it could be the best way to win. Yeah, he needs to gust this or KO this somehow. 2 Guzma's gone, and if it's a Lycanroc build, they probably... Oh, they do play Acerola. Okay. Interesting. Unfortunately, there's no choice band on this guy. Oh, he could field blur himself. Yeah, insane. It's his third choice band. This one's right there. Not bad, not bad. So we're always going to Acerola here, of course. Not going to bench stuff because he still has his GX attack available. Have to take the Lele now because we know they play Acerola. Maybe I should have benched Buzzwole just because of end proofing, seeing as though he doesn't have any energy on either of his dudes. May have been another misstep. We'll see. They still have a handful of ends. Oh, one end remaining. A devolve at any point is game for us. Gonna see Ultra Boarding away, more Zoruas. It looks like it's a heavy Zoroark GX build of Buzzwole. A few people have discussed the deck. I think playing Lycanroc and Zoroark is jamming lots all in together, which I'm not too sure on. But here's the Buzzwole coming in to do 60. Okay. So, having in mind that this can win us game, we still have a lot of float stones, right? Still have all of our float stones. Incredible. We should just go for a Sycamore play. If we actually attach this to the Buzzwole, we can't retreat into our Espeon as easily, so I'll just put on a different Buzzwole, I guess. I again think they don't have much gust, so if I just attach to the bench, what can they really do about it? I would assume they can't do anything. I just don't want to lose to the fact that they play lots of Guzma. Let's gamble. I mean, we can still just Sycamore into Espeon for game next turn, right? That's the line we'll use when we pass it over. You have to think with a thick Lycanroc, they're not going to play more than 2 Guzma. Doesn't make sense. But at the same time, this list hasn't made a lot of sense, so I'm expecting a Guzma DC GX attack. There's Choice Band. Sycamore is not Guzma. That's good news. Oh, they actually did play 3. Insane. Did you see that? Oh my god. Whew! Dinky dodgems. Thank goodness. Losing to that would have been pretty sad. Round 1 things. You know what I'm talking about, guys. Yeah, we got there. there it is. Buzzwole. All 3 games were super, super weird. So that just shows you that you're going to have to go out and test it yourselves. We didn't get to see... Whoops, that's not the list. We didn't get to see us against any evolution decks, so we didn't see how insane Espeon can be. Although last game it could have been an out-to game. We saw it against Volk, and it is very topsy-turvy. Try and get your Garbodor up, and try and get into one-hit KOs, and just hope that you can tank. But, yeah, that just leaves plenty to be desired for this deck. Still lots more to test, and lots more to explore with it. I think E-Hammer proved itself in the last game, and in the meta that we're in, I feel E-Hammer is strong enough to play. I never really felt that Field Blower was necessary, although we did play Volks that play Fury Belts, so maybe that's something you want to add in. It's up to you guys, but let me know what you think about Buzzwole Garb, and if you want to see more battles from this deck, I've probably played like 20 or so games on stream. So if you look back to the previous week where I was testing this list and a few other Buzzwole lists as well, yeah, that's the place to go. So I'm sure you're all sick and tired of seeing me play Buzzwole Garb at this point. So we'll leave it there, and thanks for watching, everyone. Please leave a like to the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. For now, though, it has been Joe from OmniPoke, and I'll be seeing you guys in London very soon. So, cheers.